Hello everybody, thank you for joining us today. Our webinar today will go over website content. Just before we get started, can everybody hear me? If you can hear me, please type in the questions box just to confirm that. And once we have that, we'll go ahead and we'll start this webinar. Perfect, awesome. Thank you very much for confirming that for me, Dan. Okay, so today we're going to go over adding content to your website. So first thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and log in. Oh, and by the way, guys, if you do have questions along the way, you can type them in the questions box. I'll try to answer them as we go along. So we'll log into the member area here, and on the blue menu bar near the top, we're going to click Website. And on the menu bar directly below, we're going to click Website Content. Perfect. Now on the left here, you'll see we have our homepage content. So right now we're on the Getting Started page. It's kind of our main landing page. But we'll go ahead and click Homepage Stories. It's where we're going to start. So I'll go ahead and click Homepage Stories. And you can see here, here is a list of all of our stories that we have set to appear on the home page. Now first thing we'll notice here up at the top is that there's a warning message saying that we have currently a maximum of 5 stories set to appear on the home page. So it's always important to look at these warning messages up at the top, and we will see some more as we go along through this webinar. But just so you guys know, if you do see this, basically what this means is the widget on your home page is set to only show 5 stories, but because we have more than 5 stories down here, they won't all appear. So just to confirm that, what we can do is we can go to the website designer. We'll click the Edit Content button. We'll find the Homepage Stories widget here, and we'll click the gear icon. And we can scroll down, and we'll see items to display as 5. So if I change this to 8, we'll just save it. Now the widget will display 8 stories rather than just the 5. So if we go back to our website content, click Homepage Stories, you now see it says a maximum of 8 stories. So let's go ahead and let's start with creating a new story. So here is our list of stories that's going to appear on the homepage. What I'm going to do is click on the orange green, Create New Story button. And we'll go ahead and give it a title. I'll just call it July Webinar. Now the permalink will automatically populate for you, so you don't have to worry about typing anything in. Here you can type in an author if you want to assign it to an author. We also have these checkboxes down here, so we can display the author, display the date, and display social media bar. So I'll go ahead and enable some of those for you. We'll set the date. On the right, we have the thumbnail image. So if you guys want to include a thumbnail on that story, you can definitely do it here. So if I click Change and then click Edit, it'll open up our image library, and I'll just pick this these flowers here. So we'll scroll down a little bit here, and we'll see we have 2 main sections. So we have the story brief, which is going to be just like your summary of your story here. And it's what most people use to display on their homepage and their bulletin. If you do have a lot of content, you can put the rest of the content in the story content section. So what would happen is you put some content in the story brief, and some in the story content, and when you're on the home page, there's going to be a Read More button. So I'll just put some text here. This is our brief. This is our content. We'll just go ahead and just save for now. It'll ask you where you'd like the story to appear. We just want it to appear on the home page, so make sure that's clicked, and I'll click Confirm. And now we see our July webinar is up at the top. So one thing I will note, if we wanted to change the order, we'll hover over these 3 dots on the left, click and drag it around. And then you can see we can easily move them around. So I'll go ahead and leave that there. I'm going to go back to our home page. So we see our story here. I'm going to refresh and we should see our new story that we created. So here's our July webinar. There's our thumbnail. We have our brief. And we also have this read more button. So if I click the read more button, you'll see here we have our brief at the top here and we have our content down below. Now let's go back into the story. Now to edit the story, all you have to do is just go back into the story list and click the edit link on the right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add different types of content to the story. So first thing we will do is we'll add a link. So let's just say this is a link. What we can do is highlight the text that you want to become a link, and we're going to click the link button on the toolbar directly above. And here you can change the link type to whatever you like. So if you want to link to a built-in page or a custom page or even a document, you have all of these different options. So we'll just go ahead and select built-in page. And then we see here we have another drop-down where we can select which built-in page we want to link to. So we'll just link it to contact us, that's fine. Now we'll go ahead and click the green OK button. Now of course if you wanted to link it to different types of resources in ClubRunner, you can do that, but if you did want to link to something outside of ClubRunner, we do have that URL option, so you can use a direct link to that resource. So go ahead and click OK. So that's great. Now you can see that is a link. So if I hover over it, the mouse cursor turns into a little hand. What we can also do is add an image. So on the top here, on the toolbar, there's a button that says image. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then I'm going to click this Browse Server button. And what that'll do is it'll open up the image library. So if the image that I want to use is here, you can select it from this list. And of course we do have different folders on the left. If it's not here yet, you haven't uploaded it into ClubRunner, you can click the upload button. And it'll open up your computer here where you can select the image you want to upload. The two images I have here are actually uploaded already, so I'll go ahead and I'll just select this one here. And we can see here's the preview. We also have some options on the left, so if you do want to make this bigger, 1500, it's going to be very big, but you can definitely make it bigger. Now one thing to keep in mind here, when you're changing the width and the height, you do want to maintain that aspect ratio. If I change this lock icon, right now it's locked, but if I click it, it'll unlock. And if I change this height to say 600, let me just show you what'll happen. You'll see, actually it doesn't show it in the preview, but the images, it's all stretched out. So when we work on changing the width and the height, make sure that you do have that lock icon locked. We also have the ability to add a border, so we'll just put 10, and that's how thick the border will be. We also have our horizontal space and our vertical space. I'll go ahead and click OK, and you can see here we have our border and we have the spacing, the little space on the top and the bottom and the sides. So I'll go ahead, let's just delete this, let's try that again. Now say we want our image to appear next to some text. So we have some text here, this is our brief. What we'll do is we'll put our cursor to the left of the text. We'll click the image button again, browse server to select our image. Just select this one here. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And then we have our align option down at the bottom. So if I select align left, you can see here on the preview, although it's a little small, there's text that flows around on the right of the image. So I'll go ahead and click save, and you can see now that any text that I enter will flow on the side of the image. And you could also do that for the right. Obviously the right, you won't see it as obvious, but the text is in line with the picture. Go ahead and flick that back to left, and this is where the spacing kind of comes in handy. So if you want to add a little bit of extra spacing between the text and the picture, you can add that spacing through the image properties. And to get to that, you just double click on the image. That'll open up that image properties window. So go ahead and click OK. So that's our story brief. Okay. Perfect. Okay, now another thing we can do with the stories, we can actually embed YouTube videos. So if I open up this YouTube video that we have here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the share button, click the embed option, and we're going to copy this iframe code. Click that X, go back into our story. We're going to click, there's this embed media button. We're going to go ahead and click on that, and it says paste embed code here. So I'm going to go ahead and just paste that in, and I'm going to click OK. And you'll see now we have our video. So we'll go ahead, let's see what this looks like. I'm going to go ahead and save and publish. Okay, we have our July webinar still up at the top. We're going to go here to the home page, and there's the old version. I'm going to go ahead and refresh. And we'll see the changes that we've made. So we did put this in the brief, so we do have the image appear here, and we have our text and link on the right. Now if I click this link, it will open the Contact Us page. So go ahead and close that. Now what we're going to do, we're going to click the Read More button to show the content. And of course now we see here is the video, and we can play it directly from the page itself. So if you guys want to add videos, what we recommend is uploading it to either YouTube or Vimeo, and then go in and embed that video into the story or the custom widget if you're working directly on the website. Now, of course, if we don't want these to appear on the home page, we can use the remove link on the right. So I'll go ahead and click remove. Now a notice will come up here and it'll say, are you sure you want to remove it? Now this doesn't mean it will delete it. It's just going to remove it from the home page. So if I click OK, we'll see that it's no longer on that list. And if we refresh the home page, it should be gone. Might just take a second here. But if we go back into the story library, so this is the list of all of the stories that we've created, we'll see our July webinar is still here. It's just the show on homepage option is not there. It's not showing on the homepage widget. So now on top of stories, we also have news. So if I go back to website content, we're going to see this homepage news option. So there's two different types of story widgets. You have just your regular story widget, and you also have your news widget. So you can separate your stories between those two widgets. So if I click this homepage news link, we'll see another warning up at the top. It says, please note that this widget has not been added to your homepage. So the homepage news widget is separate from the homepage stories widget, and because we don't have that homepage news widget on the homepage, this page is warning us to let us know, hey, you can make changes here, but it's not going to reflect on the homepage because you actually don't have that widget. So we'll go ahead and go back to the website designer. We'll just quickly add it here. So you'll see here on the left there's homepage stories, and directly below is homepage news. So we'll just drag this in somewhere obvious up at the top under the carousel. and we'll just publish. And now if we go back to website content and homepage news, that warning message will now be gone. And I'll go back to the homepage and we're just going to refresh. We'll see now the story that we removed is gone, and we have these other stories, the news from Club. So the news works very similar to the stories. They actually all pull from the same list, but you can pick and choose what you want to appear on each widget. So for example here I have different stories on my news widget than I do on my stories widget. And if I wanted to add that story that I just created, you can click add stories from the story library. And we'll just check the checkbox for our July webinar story. So again, it wasn't deleted and we just removed it from the homepage stories widget. But now we're going to add it to the homepage news widget. So we'll go ahead and click add selected stories. And we can see our July webinar is there. And again, everything else for the news widget, it functions the same. So you can add the stories from the story library, you can edit the stories, and again, you can remove it as well, and it won't remove or delete the story. It's just going to remove it from the home page. So we'll go back here to the home page. I'm going to go ahead and refresh. And now we see our July webinars up at the top. And one other thing I'd actually like to point out is with the stories, if I click the edit link here for the July webinar story, you can also add links to images. So I know I showed you how to do the link for the text, but if I click the picture once so that it highlights in blue, I can click the link button and I can do the exact same thing. So built-in page, and this time we'll take it to, let's go to event calendar. We'll click OK, and we'll just save and publish. And then that will become a link. Might take a second here to update. Give it some time. But does anybody have any questions about the stories or the news? Okay. Perfect. Just taking a little while here. But we can definitely move on. So that's the stories and the news. So next thing we're going to look at is the homepage download file. So on the left, we'll click homepage download files. And again, the warning is up at the top that we don't have this widget. Let me just quickly add it. So homepage download files. We'll just add it under the news, and we'll click publish. So if I go back to the website content, that is correct, Kim. Yes, the news editor has a link. If you get that warning message, and it'll take you to the designer. So you can actually click that link directly, and it will take you to the designer, so that you can add the widget to the page. Okay, we'll click the download files, and we see here now it does not appear the warning. Oh, perfect. That's our story. Let's go back. Refresh. And here we see all of our club download files. Now, the one thing that we like to emphasize with the download files is that they are always public. So you never want to put files with any private information or any sensitive information, for that matter, on the download files. The download files are mostly used for things that you want members of the public to easily access through your website. So to add a download file, it's pretty simple. Just click the Add Download File button on the right. We're going to name it DL file. We're going to choose the file here. Let's just pick this picture, it doesn't matter. And then we have the option here to show on homepage. So I'll keep that checked. I'll click Save. And we can see here we have our DL file. Now the one thing I do want to point out, the delete link, it's not a remove now, this is a delete. So if you don't want something to appear on the homepage, you can definitely delete it. That will permanently delete it. Or you can click the edit button here. And then you can uncheck that show on homepage. So let's go ahead and just refresh this here. Just get this here. If I delete it, it'll permanently remove it. So that file has been deleted. It's not just the link to the file, but the actual file has been removed from the system. So like I said, this is more for the public stuff, so the stuff that you want members of the public to see. If you want things more private, we do have another section in ClubRunner. So under Organization on the menu bar near the top, we'll click that, and then we'll click the Documents link on the menu bar directly below. And we'll see we have all of our private documents. So here we actually have the ability to add folders to organize the documents a little better than the download files. So we'll go ahead and add a folder here by clicking the Add Folder button. That's just our webinar, and again, permalink is automatic. We'll go ahead and actually the subfolder you can choose if you want to place it in a specific folder. For now we're just going to leave it in the root, which is the top level. So I'll go ahead and click Save. And you can see here, here's our webinar folder. And again, wherever you see these three dots, you can click and drag them so you can reorganize them. So I'll go ahead and let's go ahead and add a document to this folder. So in order to add a document directly to a folder, rather than clicking the Add or Add Multiple button up at the top, it's a little easier to actually go through and click the link. So I'll locate our webinar folder and click Add. Our document. So you can see here it's already selected the Our Webinar folder. Now down here we have the access level. So if you're okay to have this public, you can definitely select public. But if this does have sensitive information that you want only members to see, select that Requires Login option. And what that'll do is that'll make sure that even if I have the link to the document directly, I have to log in order to access this this file. So I'll go ahead and just choose a file here, and we'll click Save. And we can see now our webinar has some content. We'll click the little arrow and we'll expand it, and we see our document here. Now an easy way to tell if a document is public or private, if it's private, it'll have this little lock icon, but if you scroll down here, Public Member Directory, this one does not have a lock. So, this one is public. And of course, we can move the folders as well as move the files. So if I wanted to move this file into a different folder, I could just click and drag, and now you can see our document is in the rotary four-way test. Let's put that back. Okay, Peter, you asked a very good question. Can you have a set of download files on a page other than the home page? Yeah, if you have like a custom page, you can have the download files for that particular page. So it is based off of the specific page that you're working on. And that goes with the stories as well. So we have our homepage stories widget, but if you're creating a custom page and you add the page stories widget, it's going to allow you to put different stories on that widget. Okay. Now, if you do want to link, like say you're sending an email, oh, you're very welcome, Peter. If say you're sending an email, you want to link to this document directly, you can, of course, click the Get Link. There's going to be a little box that opens up, and you're going to copy that direct link, and then you can send it out to other members. And as I said, because this one is locked, they will have to log in order to view or download that file. And of course we can delete the files. So if I click delete, this will permanently delete that document from the list. So you can see our webinar is now blank. Now in order to delete the folder, we'll hover over this more option and we'll click delete. Now we do have other options here. You can actually download the content of this folder. You can even download all of the documents. So if you want to back up your documents, you can download all and keep that on your computer. Kim asked, is it possible to make a calendar that's login only? No, not at the moment. The calendar is kind of, it's either on the calendar or it's not on the calendar. So we don't have separate calendars at the moment. It is just the one calendar that you see on the website. And we'll get to that quickly here shortly. So we'll just go ahead and we'll delete this folder. Perfect. Okay, so let's move over to calendar items. So we're going to go to events up at the top here, and we're going to click calendar items recurring. Okay, and then you have all of your calendar items here. So what you can do is you can add a calendar item, and with this system we can actually set up recurring items. So if I put our weekly, let's say Wednesday, weekly Wednesday meeting. So we'll say our event start date is today, and recurring weekly, and every 1 week on Wednesday, and then you can even set when it'll end. So I'll end after, let's say, 5 occurrences, and we'll click OK. Oh, Peter asked, through the district, there is a private document section. The menu bar up at the top, Peter, is a little different. You're not going to have to go through organization. There should be just a documents tab up at the top. So if you click the documents tab up at the top, there'll be a documents link on the gray menu bar directly below, and that'll take you to the same page. It'll be the private documents for the district. Okay, we'll go ahead and save this. Now with this system, you can also set up one-time events as well. So let's go here. We can see our weekly Wednesday meeting is here. Show on website is true. And we can have a quick look at the calendar by clicking this calendar button. So we can see weekly Wednesday meeting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then that's it. It stops. So you can control. You're very welcome, Peter. Yeah, you can control, how many times the event, in this case, recurs. And we can also add speakers. So if the club has speakers that they want to put on the calendar, they can do that as well. You know what? Let me just pull this up here. Let's see if we have about our club. Okay, calendar. Let me open up the calendar. So we can see here we do have some color coding down at the bottom. Pink is speaker, so we see that we actually have one speaker here. Now in order to add speakers, we're going to go to the admin page and then click admin. I'm going to scroll down and we're going to click edit speakers. And there's our test one that we saw there. We'll go ahead and click add new speaker. We're going to set the date, so let's set it for tomorrow. Set a certain time, 3:30, that's good. We'll say Shawn P, and we're going to talk about website content, although we're doing it today, but that's okay. You can pick an image, so just so we see what that might look like, I'll go ahead and just select this image here, and of course you can add comments. We do have the option to display the social media bar, so we'll click yes, and we do have to check that we have received consent from this person to enter their information in. So I'll go ahead and just save this here. Perfect. Now we can see that we do have our new speaker entry up here at the top. So I'm going to go ahead, let's refresh. Hopefully it updates here. Perfect. So now we see on the calendar we have this new pink entry, Shawn P. I'm going to go ahead and click it, and you'll see here we have our picture and our comment, so the little description as well as the topic here on what we're going to be, what the speaker is going to be discussing. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to cover is the website template. So if I go back here to the home page, we can see we have a section here up at the top. That's the full width. And then if we scroll down, we have 3 columns below that. So when you're talking about content, you can definitely change how it's displayed on the website. So if we go to the website and then website designer, let's just click edit content. You know what? I'm going to show you the new. We have our new website beta. Let me show you that one. So new website beta, and we're going to click homepage designer. It's a little easier to see because we actually get a live preview of the website as we're making those changes. So we can see here, we do have our preview on the left, and on the right we have our widgets. Up at the top we have a layouts button. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and we can see we have a few different layouts that we can select from. So right now we have, like I said, the top section, which is the full width, and then we have the 3 columns in the center there. So say we want to change that to just a small menu on the left, and then a full wider section on the right. You can click this option here. We'll scroll down. Here's our full width section. And then now we can see there's a narrow column on the left, and then 1 column that's wider on the right, rather than having the 3 columns. So you can control, how your content is laid out on the actual page itself. Okay, so you have a few questions here. Oh, perfect. Yeah, Kim has a great point. If you a trick, so she says a trick to switch the interfaces to enter the word live in front of the design in the URL. So getting tricky, but yep, you can do that. Now let's see. Michelle also had a question here. Can we link to another ClubRunner calendar example, the district's calendar? Yes, of course you can, as long as you have that URL. So if you go to the district website, you're on their calendar page. If you copy that URL up at the top, which is up here, you can copy it, and then you can use that as a link wherever you'd like, whether that be on a story or just on your website. So you can definitely link to that as long as you have that that web address. Then you can definitely do it. Perfect. Okay, and one more thing actually, since we do have a little bit of time, I'm going to go back here. We're going to talk about photo albums. So let's go into here on the menu bar near the top. We'll click website. We'll go back to website content. Michelle, will that put the district calendar events into my calendar? No. What'll happen is it'll just link to the calendar itself. So if you wanted to put a link on your homepage saying, click here for district events, you could have a link that points to the district calendar, but that won't automatically, add those events to the club calendar. Those two calendars are separate and managed separately as well. So on the left here, we're going to click homepage photo albums. You're very welcome. And again, it's the same warning message, but just like the stories and the other sections that we've seen, we have a list of photo albums that's going to appear on the homepage. We can create a new photo album or add from the library. So if I click this add from photo library, we'll see all of the photo albums that we already have created, and we can just select the one that we want and click add selected photo albums. And that'll add it to the list. Or of course we can create a new photo album. So I'll go ahead and click create photo album just to show you guys here. New photo album. If you want an album logo, you can do that here. And we'll go ahead. We do have options for the slideshow. So for the individual photo album, if you have lots of pictures, you can set up a slideshow. So you can, just play it and it'll cycle through all of the pictures that you have in that that photo album. So we'll go ahead and click save just to create it, and it'll take us to the upload page. We can click add files, or if you have the window open on your computer, you can just drag them here. I'll just go ahead and click add files, and we'll just add both of these here. And I'm going to click start upload. Yes, yeah, I will, Michelle, I'm going to definitely show you that, that display social media bar. So we'll go ahead and click OK. Now we see our photo album is here with our images. So we'll go ahead, go back to the homepage photo albums, and we don't have the widget on the homepage, but you can see here's our new photo album, and we can click photos to see what photos we have. And if we want to add more, we can click the upload photos button over here. Now, just to show you guys the display social media bar, I apologize, I did miss that. We'll go back to our calendar because we added it to the speaker. We'll go ahead and click my name here. And you see down below the speaker, we have these buttons here. So Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, you have all of your social media platforms. So if you click it, it'll actually allow you to share this particular item. So whether that be a story or a speaker, you can easily share it. Now, of course, in order to share it, we do have to be logged in to Facebook, but or whatever platform you select. But you can, simply click that social media icon and share it on that platform. Okay, so that about wraps it up for our website content webinar. We do have a few minutes here for some questions. So what I'll do is I'm just going to go down the list. I'll unmute you guys one by one, and if you guys have any questions, just let me know. So we'll start here with Dan. Dan, do you have any questions? Oh, you might not have a mic. And that's okay. If you don't have a mic, you can just type in the questions box. Okay. Irfan, do you have any questions?
Thanks, Shawn. It was great.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Kim, do you have any other questions?
Thanks, Shawn. I learned a lot about stories today and how I can make my stories with the brief and the content scroll better, because I was throwing it all in the brief and it meant that our users had to scroll quite a ways to get to the bottom of the story list.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Oh yeah,
really helpful.
You're very welcome. Yeah, that's why we do like to point that out, because that is the issue. A lot of people do just put it all in the brief, and it's kind of content overload on the on the bulletin and the homepage. So yeah, definitely use that, and I'm glad we could help Kim. Okay, Margaret, do you have any questions? Okay. Michelle, do you have any other questions?
Sorry, was that me?
Yes, yep.
No, that's great. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thanks, Michelle. Okay, Peter, do you have any additional questions?
Yeah, quick question. I joined late. Will I be able to see the first part of this webinar as a recording in the near future?
Yeah, what I'll do is we do record our webinars, so I do have a previously recorded webinar on the website content. So okay. I'll make sure I get that to you guys through email.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Okay, and Terry, do you have any questions?
No, I'm good. Thanks, Shawn.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. And if you guys do have any other questions, you guys can always contact us by email. Our email address is support, so SUPPORT, at clubrunner.ca. You can access that through the help section in your member area. So if you guys do have any other questions, definitely let us know. And once again, thank you very much for joining us today.